Well, better late than never. I decided to do a video of my swap here. So I've got a 97 OBS 7.3. And I got a donor truck, which was an 01 Super Duty 7.3. So I originally bought that donor truck for the axles. But I was having some overheating issues, so I pulled the intercooler off the Super Duty, put on my 7.3. And in order to do that, you have to bring the intake plenums over. Otherwise, the original plenums are too small. And in the process of doing that, I dropped a little tiny nut down. I wasn't sure where it went, but I'm pretty sure now that it did go down in the intake. So this motor here now smokes really bad at startup. It's got a really, well, the knock's kind of going away, but it's still got a knock. So I decided I'd take this motor out of the Super Duty and rebuild it and just do a swap rather than pulling my motor, ordering parts, waiting for the parts to come in, having my truck down for God only knows, 3 weeks, maybe a month or so. But I'm finding a lot of stuff is different. All these sensors I had to switch over. These are the Super Duty sensors. That one, and that one, and that one. Whereas the OBS has just got single wire sensors. There, this one back here, and that one up there. The exhaust back pressure was the same. The sensor's the same, but the bracket and the line are different. The OBS one came up back here. Oops, back here behind this. There's a bracket that went across here, and it mounted to that right here. And on the Super Duty, it actually came off of a little bracket off the cover here. But I was afraid my wiring wouldn't reach to here, so I went ahead and moved it back to there. But that original bracket won't go here, so it's just going to kind of hang there for a little bit. This sensor here was the same. Fuel pressure regulator plug-in was the same. Water and fuel sensor is going to be different. And I don't have the wiring from the Super Duty, so I'm not going to have water and fuel sensor. Actually, I'm not sure if that's water and fuel or if that's the differential pressure sensor. I'm telling you to change your filter. Then this is the turbo out of the Super Duty. I put a rebuild kit on it, along with the billet wheel. I don't know if you can see it back in there. 7-on-7. Yeah, not really. And with the wastegate. Now my truck didn't have a wastegate, so I don't have a wastegate controller. I tightened that rod down a little bit because it will, from what I read anyhow, it will still open when it gets too much boost. So we tighten that rod down, give it more spring pressure, so it'll open on its own later, rather than starting to open 5 to 10 psi, then dumping boost straight out the exhaust. Let's see what else am I having to change over here. I got new valve cover gaskets, which is also the harness for the injectors and the glow plugs. I also got new injectors and glow plugs, but I got new injectors for the 95, which are the single shot, not the double shot that the 01 came with. I don't want to bother having to try to reprogram or, well, from what I've read, the single shot's better injector anyways. Oil lines. I do have a oil line crossover kit coming. That's like the only thing that hasn't showed up yet. The dipstick actually comes up in a different spot too, the engine dipstick. So this is the Super Duty one here. It comes all the way around the front. My alternator sits right here. And on this one, on the OBS, the engine dipstick was all the way back here. So as long as that's not an issue with my alternator, I might have to tweak it a little bit. We'll see. What else? Oh, the water inlet and outlet. These two I had to swap over because the Super Duty Looks like that, actually, at top and bottom. That's the original Super Duty one. And that's my OBS there. And the other one's actually still on the pipe, or on the hose rather. But it's bolts there, and it's got a 90 coming off of it, and really big, rather than the Super Duty had just this little one right here. So that's not going to work with my OBS hose. What else do I have to switch over? Actually, I want to say that's about it. I'm sticking with the Super Duty fuel filter and fuel pump. You know, the e-fuel. So I'm not going to have a lift pump. I got the electric pump by the 01 that's going in it. Just got to figure out where I'm going to mount it. Somewhere on the rail, but I haven't figured that part out yet. Somewhere I got to tee in my sensor here for my fuel pressure gauge. And yeah, I don't know. I guess that's it. It's coming along. Oh, the plug-in for the oil pressure regulator down at the bottom. So it's got a little 2-pin plug. I believe it's 2-pin, but it comes up to this plug here, which is going to go to my truck. But then off of that, there was 3 different single ones. One of them is to the fuel heater. One of them is to the, I believe, the differential pressure sensor. And I'm not sure where the third one went. But none of these 3 were even hooked up in my truck, so I'm just going to stuff it down out of the way and plug that in where it goes and call it good. What else? What else? Nah, I think that's about it. Oh, the up pipes are basically the same. I've seen a lot of videos on this. The up pipes are basically the same, but that turbo mount right there is definitely different. So the OBS has got the 2 studs down here and 2 bolts up here. And the Super Duty has a single clamp. There's no bolts. But as far as the up pipes, they do look to be the same. I've seen some people going back and forth about it's different, it's not different. They look to me to be the same. But like I said, this Y pipe right here is definitely different. Clamps here. And I do still have my exhaust back pressure valve hooked up. In fact, I cleaned it up so it works a little bit smoother. And it's another thing I want to do here before too long is figure out how to use that as an exhaust brake, lock up the torque converter, and use the exhaust back pressure valve as an exhaust brake. Because it's an automatic, so a bit more of a pain in the butt, but whatever. Yeah, you know what? I think that's about it for now. Oh yeah, and I even brought the oil fill standpipe over from the Super Duty, just because I like it better than being all the way down here flush. This is a custom little bracket that I had to make, because I've got a aftermarket cold air intake, DIY, whatever you want to call it. So this is actually, the bottom of this holds the intake, and then the top here is for my CAC tube that comes across above that, well, kind of above, yeah, kind of above it here. But yeah, I think I've rambled on enough. All right, thanks. If you found something in here that you liked, give me a comment, give me a like, something. I don't do this for a living, but I just figured I'd give you guys a quick video of what I got. All right, bye.